What's the most memorable gas station scene in a movie? What's the first thing that comes to mind? Is it the tragic demise of four male models post-gasoline fight with orange mocha frappuccinos in hand? Or is it the nail-biting tension of Javier Bardem's coin flip in No Country for Old Men? Both great answers, by the way. My answer would probably be the opening scene of the 1998 slasher Urban Legend. I don't believe it's a written rule that slashers need to open with a memorable set piece, but all the best ones do. It opens on a woman driving alone on a particularly rainy night when her gas light flicks on. The timing seems to work out okay as the lights of a gas station appear between windshield wipes. As she sits in her car, waiting for an attendant, the face of horror great Brad Dourif suddenly appears on the side of her window. "Run out of gas?" he asks with a stutter. "Yeah, fill it up, please," she says, sliding down her window an inch to slide her card over. He takes the card, begins pumping her gas. He glances into her car and walks back into the gas station with her card. After a few moments, he reappears, knocking on her window. He asks her to come inside, says the credit card company's on the phone. They want to speak to her. She weighs her options for a minute, deciding to slide a canister of pepper spray into her purse before following this stranger into an empty gas station. As she gets inside, we see the attendant lock the door behind him. She picks up the phone to talk to the credit card company, only to be met with a dial tone. She begins to scream, and that's before she's realized he's locked the door. He's trying to tell her something, but literally cannot get the words out. He puts his hand on her arm as he makes another attempt at explaining. This is when she pulls out the pepper spray and uses it. It works. She uses that time to break the glass on the door and shimmy her way out to safety, she thinks, because she does not hear the words that the gas station attendant is finally able to yell. "There's someone in the back of your car." But like all harbingers, their warnings go unheard, their attempts at intercession ignored. A modern-day Cassandra watching the woman drive to what we will see is a violent and avoidable end. It's a scene that's stuck with me for many years. I even had an air freshener at one point hanging from my rearview mirror that said, "Always check the back seat." And I kept it there long after it stopped emitting fragrance of any kind. The scene works as an opening set piece to a slasher movie. It also works as an urban legend. It has the same story beats of something you would tell around the glow of a campfire. But it also works because the character's actions make sense. He would not be able to warn her about somebody in the backseat of her car while she is in this car. He needed to find a reason to get her out of the car. It's raining outside, there's no cover. He has to tell her somewhere dry inside. And from her point of view, she's a woman driving alone in the middle of the night and is at this gas station with only this attendant who seems to have found a reason to get her inside. Earlier in the scene, she does call him a freak under her breath, so maybe we aren't supposed to fully like her. She's smart, though. She brings the pepper spray in with her as she follows him inside, and after she uses it, she is able to take that time, break the glass, and find a way out. It is a level of fight and forethought that would have saved a final girl, but is ultimately what dooms her. It got me thinking about gas stations in horror, and of course, the first thing that came to mind was the trope of the harbinger, who oftentimes works at the gas station, as seen in Tobe Hooper's Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Well, now look, you boys don't want to go mess around no old house. But those things is dangerous. You're liable to get hurt.
We'll be careful.
You don't want to go fooling around other folks' property. Some folks don't like it, and they don't mind showing you.
It is the role of the Harbinger to warn our cast of characters of the impending doom that awaits them if they continue on their current path. They are not always specific about what exactly the danger is. They are just here to warn. This can also be seen in Wes Craven's The Hills Have Eyes and meta horror comedy Cabin in the Woods. Harbingers don't always come in the form of a, quote, creepy older man working at a gas station. Sometimes they're the small little TV behind them. Maybe it's a local news broadcast covering how the police have found yet another body in an inexplicable string of murders in this small town. And maybe our characters will glance at the screen before asking the gas station attendant for a pack of cigs for the road. Maybe they'll ask a question about it, giving us a bit of exposition, but they'll still head on their way. In horror stories, gas stations play such an interesting part. They are liminal, transitional by nature, a stop on the way to your final destination. The expectation is it's a place you get in and out of. But we know what horror likes to do with expectations. In the 2015 horror anthology film Southbound, this goes a different way. It opens on a scene of two men in a truck driving along a desert highway at night. The man driving is covered in blood. We can tell they're on the run, but from who, or as we'll learn more appropriately, what, is unclear. It's only after the sun rises and the lighting changes that we are able to see the what. There are floating, dripping skeletal figures that seem to be posted along several spots on the desert road. The men pull the truck into a gas station. Before they make their way inside, we see Night of the Living Dead playing on a small television. As the driver makes his way to the restroom to get cleaned up, he is informed the restroom is for customers only. The driver, annoyed, walks towards the attendant/waitress in this gas station/cafe and slides a $20 bill towards her to put on the pump. "Rough night?" she asks him. This is, of course, the man whose shirt is splattered with blood. He's not particularly interested in small talk. We cut to him struggling to wash the blood off his hands when he is attacked from behind by an unseen force or figure, as the sequence in The Night of the Living Dead intensifies. The entire establishment begins to shake, and both men run outside. The cashier remains unbothered, saying a mocking, "Come again soon." As the men get in their car, they look behind them and discover that the skeletal floating figures are getting closer. They peel out of the gas station, glancing behind them as they drive away. They immediately come upon a familiar sight. The gas station. The same gas station they just left. There it is, on their left. They pull in and see the same cashier outside, smoking a cigarette. "Rough night?" she asks again. We see the men attempt to leave once more, only to find themselves back at the gas station, unable to leave. Trapped. In Nat Cassidy's 2024 psychological locked room horror story, Rest Stop, a musician named Abe is driving to visit his grandmother one last time and reconnect with some of his family. He stops and walks into what appears to be an empty gas station. He goes into the restroom and finds himself locked in. The book itself comes in at under 180 pages, so I don't want to give too much away. But Abe fights horrors on both sides of the door in this claustrophobic, fluorescent lit scenario straight out of a nightmare, like this. Movement catches his eye in the mirror, his words cut off. He spins around, hoping that what he thinks he saw in the glass isn't what's actually coming out of the ceiling vent. It is. Oh God, it is. And in this moment, Abe realizes, perhaps belatedly, that none of this is a prank. It's in this moment he realizes how fucked he truly is. He begins to scream, louder than he's ever screamed in his soon to be over life. While Southbound traps its characters in this external purgatorial loop of despair, Rest Stop turns that reckoning internal, transforming the setting into a prison for facing guilt and generational trauma. But what does the story look like from the other side of the desk? What is it like for the employees? Movies like 2018's Open 24 Hours and the opening segment of Tobe Hooper's horror anthology, Body Bags, follow women working night shifts from hell at the gas station, fighting for their lives against stalkers and serial killers, real and possibly imagined, in the dead of night. And then there's Jack Townsend's Tales from the Gas Station, which takes this trope in a completely different direction. Originally a successful creepypasta on the No Sleep subreddit, this multi-volume series follows Jack, a man who works at the 24-hour gas station near the woods in a small town. It's close enough to the highway to have a consistent flow of out-of-towners, but far enough away from the city to have a local cult, and also a ghost that lives in the bathroom. And somehow a never-ending supply of surreal interactions. Tonally, it's a complete shift. Jack, the narrator, faces these interactions with a dry humor and a resigned charm that adds a coziness to the storytelling. What if we got existential again, though? In the Thomas Ligotti story, Gas Station Carnivals, our unnamed narrator finds himself at a club called the Crimson Cabaret, where he runs into an acquaintance, an art critic named Quisser. Our narrator tells Quisser that he has offended the Crimson Lady, an underworld figure who runs the club. Quisser pushes this aside and begins to reminisce about traveling with his parents when he was younger and stopping in rural areas for gas. You remember them, don't you? The gas station carnivals. He tells him that out back behind the gas stations, there used to be these smaller scale, broken down carnival attractions and sideshows with names like the Human Spider and the Showman. He swears this was real, but our narrator, and we, the reader, are not so sure. It's a story drenched in dream logic. Did these carnivals ever exist? There's a creeping sense of wrongness. It all just feels off. But is there a sliver of truth to it? Gas stations sit right at the edge of something, between you and your destination, between safety and the unknown, and between us. That's what I love about them. All of this to say, I'm hopping into Sheets for a bag of Takis and a Diet Coke. You want anything?